It's been 5 years since we last caught up with the loyal members of the Danebury Metal Detecting Club, but this Christmas the sitcom Detectorists returns to our screen for a one-off special.
Mackenzie Crook and Toby Jones are reprising their roles as Andy and Lance as they try to save their beloved Scouts Hall in the feature-length episode. Take a look.
It's so wonderful. Mackenzie Crook and Toby Jones with us now. Morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mackenzie, is that the hat?
It's not actually. It's a very
just,
similar one.
It's a similar. It's a similar hat,
Yeah.
but it's not the hat.
No, this is Mackenzie, not Andy.
Yeah. Do you always wear hats? Is that just a thing anyway?
Yes, yeah. I'm a hat wearer. I have been for years.
Okay, but that hat in the series it's kind of a bit of a special hat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's survived all 3 series. Yeah.
And is that one of your own hats, or was it is actually one of your own hats?
Yes. Yeah.
That made it through costume.
Yeah.
Did you wash it?
I don't know if it has ever been washed, to be honest.
It's got character.
Yes.
That's what it's got.
Yeah.
That is what it's got. It's a joy. The thing about this program, Detectorists, is it's a real joy. There's something about a calmness about it. Is that what it is, Toby?
Well, I know that in the 5 years since we did the main sort of the 3 consecutive series, a lot of people said that they found a lot of consolation in it during the lockdown and things. I think it was discovered a lot by people during that period, and I think it is something to do with being reminded of just the simple pleasure of going to the pub, being with your mate in a field, just being able to have time to chat, and a lot of people don't have that time. So apart from it being funny, that was the thing that always charmed me about it when I first read it, was just that air of peacefulness and being reminded of the countryside.
When it finished last time, did you think that was it?
Yeah, well, I couldn't work out how. Well, I don't think you could either. But what story would bring us back? Really?
Yeah, and because of the tone of the show, not very much happens in it, and I'm always scared that that's going to become dull, and I don't want to carry it on and people get bored of it and drift away from it. So, yeah, at the end of the last series, I thought that was probably it, and then a new story occurred to me that I felt.
Well, this is it. I've been reading about how you drew everyone back in, and you kind of had the idea, but tell me what happened, Mackenzie, when you pitched it.
Well, I pitched the story to Toby first.
Second. This is and look at Toby's face.
Yeah, second.
Just to know that he was second on the list.
Yes. Okay. I ran it past Rachel Sterling first. She gave me the thumbs up.
And what's she the boss?
No, Rachel Sterling plays my wife.
She plays your wife.
Right. Okay.
But in truth, there was a good reason for that.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're not going to spoil anything about this episode.
No.
Fine. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
Yes. So I pitched the story to Toby, and you enjoyed the story. In fact, it was easy to get everyone back. Everyone was really keen to come back, and we got a whole bunch of the crew as well, the original crew. So yeah, it really was like a reunion.
But it was a twist that kind of hooked you in.
Well, we went out for lunch, and he said, "I'll tell you what the story." I mean, I remember between the 2nd series and the 3rd series, he said we went out for lunch, and he said, "What about this?" And I went, "Oh wow, yeah." Instead of looking down, we can look up for treasure. You're like, "Oh, that's a brilliant idea." I thought, well, there's nowhere else to look. And then he told me the story. He said, this happens, and this happens, and this happens. And then he got to the point of about maybe 10 minutes from the end of what you're going to see on Boxing Day. And as he got to that point of the story, I literally went, "What?" It's total shock. And I think that's when you said, it's definitely going to work.
Well, you've done a very good job of setting it up for people while saying nothing.
Good.
Because you pitched it very nicely. As a result of being on the show for so long, have you both become detectorists? Do you ever do it in your own time?
I do. I don't think you've been hooked by the hobby, but yeah, I'm an occasional detectorist.
And with any success?
You asked, Charlie. This is my best one. This is not going to make great
you'll know
TV.
about cameras. So which camera are we on here?
This is my gold. It's Roman gold.
Roman gold?
Yeah, it's a tiny little bit.
When and where did you find that?
I found it in a field in Suffolk where we filmed in, and it's either a earring or a pendant, but it was declared treasure.
Just take us through the scene. So you find this. What do you erupt in elation? What happens? What happens literally the moment you find it?
It's a bit of a metal detecting cliche that gold always is the last signal of the day, and this was on the way back to the car. It was getting dark. I didn't actually realise what I'd found until I got it home. Yes.
Can I just say something, Toby? What is the face you're pulling? Like kind of you're crossing your arms. You kind of looked down and gone.
No, I have heard this story before. I have heard this story.
How many
before.
times exactly?
It's a very beautiful story, and he tells it so well. I'm concentrating on him in case I've missed any of the details.
This could have been you, Toby, if you were out doing more detectoring,
I know.
detectoristing.
I was busy in record shops collecting records. Yeah.
Is that your thing?
That's brilliant.
I suppose, yeah.
You're right to be proud of that.
Yeah.
That's great. It was quite emotional, wasn't it, at some points? Because Rachel, who you pitched the story to first, Toby, in case you didn't know that you were second, obviously daughter of Diana Rigg, who passed away. What was that like, kind of coming back together?
It was, that particular day was a very emotional day, especially for Rachel. We were, back in the same location that we filmed with Diana a few years ago. And it was odd. We had to address...
Because Diana Rigg was also in the programme, so
yes,
for anyone who didn't know.
She died sadly in 2020, so we had to address that, and that's in fact why I wanted to speak to Rachel before I spoke to Toby.
Do you ever, you were saying about a moment ago, Toby, about the thing about the calmness of the show, whatever. Do you ever, because it's like that, when you're out in the field and you try and do the shots, does everyone lose it completely sometimes? Precisely because you're trying to be all calm and composed. Does it ever just...
No, it's got a really... It's unlike anything else I've ever worked on. Because we all stay in this... The first year, Mackenzie said, we're all going to stay in this pub in Framlingham in Suffolk. Beautiful little town. And you just walk out of the pub to work, whether you're working in the fields or you're working in the village hall up the road. The whole thing is so low maintenance that it's, for all of us, it's like a dream job. And when the other members of the club come to film, it's like they're coming on holiday. And it's like, oh look, they've come. And I mean, it's a real cliche, I know, to say that everyone gets on really well, but there's really nothing to complain about.
What about the people who are fanatical about metal detecting? How have they generally, thought about the programme?
They've really embraced it, which is a great joy to me. I think at the beginning, when it was first announced, the first series, they were a little bit guarded. They sort of assumed I was going to be taking the mickey out of them, but that was never the intention. It was always
for being like solitary, kind of a bit odd and...
Those sort of hobbyists, often they're parodied, but it was always supposed to be an affectionate look at hobbyists and their obsession.
With your expert eye, would you say, which of these fields do you think there's anything actually in? Which one would you go for first?
Yeah, well, you go along the line of the hedgerow first, because that's where the workers...
Oh, would you? So is that how it works? You follow the hedgerow along?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a great expert, but the proper detectorists, they're able to read the landscape and know exactly where the good finds are going to be,
There was a guy playing the mayor in season 2.
Yes.
And he could read the landscape where we were filming. He was able to go. There would have been a carts would have come down here in the room, and he could just see the sort of ruts in the field and stuff. And he said that's where you want to detect, which all of that stuff I find absolutely fascinating. I'm not sure.
I'm sure he is. Yeah.
It's a delightful programme. So many people will be so happy.
I think you've brought that atmosphere to the sofa as well.
No, it is. It's
really
very
affable and very calm.
You've got plenty to do. I mean, you've got to carry on, haven't you?
No, we've got some other stuff. Well,
some stuff.
Yeah, I quite like your working experience. So we'll stay in the pub and just sauntering out. It's nice.
Walking around in fields sounds lovely.
A lot to learn. We really have. Boxing Day, right?
Yeah, 9 o'clock. Yeah.
There you go. BBC Two, Detectorists, Boxing Day.